What is going on, guys? My name is Noah Booker and welcome back to my channel. So I don't want to waste any time with this because I'm so excited to talk about it, but yesterday for DC Fandom, Matt Reeves, Robert Patterson, and Zoe Kravitz all showed up, and at the end of the event they actually dropped the new trailer for the Batman, or the main trailer as it's titled. I don't want to waste any more time, I just want to jump in right into it. But if you're new here, please leave a like, a comment, and maybe subscribe. And if you're not new here and you're a regular member, welcome back and thank you. But with all that out of the way, guys, let's go ahead and jump into my breakdown for The Batman. So jumping right into this trailer, I believe the GCPD is actually getting ready to apprehend Edward, who is famously known as the Riddler. I think he wants to be captured, so that's kind of why he's doing this. But it's very moody, it's very atmospheric and rainy. Matt has obviously said that Gotham is its own character in this universe, which I think is a good thing. Very reminiscent of what they did with the Batman the animated series. But I think in this instance, he wants to be captured. And as we move a little bit further, frame by frame, you do see the coffee cup, and it does have a question mark in it. So I think this is going to be a clue for the Batman to show up, because I think he is getting apprehended on purpose. But who knows? He could just be later in the movie. But for what I understand, this is him actually wanting to be apprehended. So after we see the studio logos and the DC logo, we do move forward to Lieutenant Gordon lighting up the bat signal, and a voiceover from Bruce saying, "Hey, this is not just a symbol, this is a warning." Definitely a reference to the comics, and with the bat symbol, he wants the criminals to see that, to be very afraid. This is a very early Batman, of course. He is about a year and 6 months into this. The story will take the 6 month mark to the 2 year mark, and we will definitely see how he will evolve. But I think up to this point, this is sort of a case study. This is definitely a test to see if it works, because at this point there's not really a lot of rogues gallery for Batman per se, I think, but more of the criminal underworld that Batman is trying to take down, until the Riddler shows up and definitely gives him more of a mental challenge. So like I said, I think the bat symbol is a warning to most regular crooks, saying, hey, he is watching, which I think is very smart and definitely a cool nod and callback to the comics as a whole. So moving forward a little bit, we do get to see a cool action scene with Batman taking on Penguin goons. I think this is an extended scene from what we got in the first trailer. Batman actually gets it shot a couple times, but we see the bullets kind of impacting and ricocheting, confirming that I think Batman is just have a bulletproof suit in this iteration, which I think is a nice touch. I think Matt has even said that, hey, Batman evolves, the suit will evolve in the movie, which I think is very neat. The suit itself is a character, and Matt has even confirmed that in this movie we'll most likely see Batman more than Bruce Wayne, because Bruce at this point feels that he is more comfortable in the bat suit and hasn't quite figured out how to live that balanced life between Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where Bruce Wayne and the Batman are one person. He's still trying to figure that out, and I think that'll be a main focal point for this movie. We do get to see Batman using what I think is electric gloves, one of his many gadgets he has, of course, in his utility belt. But I don't know if this is maybe just a shot edit, where this could just be Batman, taking a taser away from a goon and tasing him back, or this is actually part of his suit. Maybe he has, small tasers in his gauntlets, or on the fingertips. But overall, I think it's a definitely cool Easter egg, and fingers crossed he does eventually get electric gloves, because that is a huge part of the Arkham universe and the Arkham games. Definitely would not be upset if they take some cues from that game, because those games are definitely very well received and definitely a huge part of the Batman mythos at this point. We then travel to the police precinct. I think this is a scene following what we saw at the beginning of the trailer, with Edward being apprehended by the police, and this is actually Batman coming to confront him, maybe about a clue, or maybe somebody's gone missing, maybe another murder's getting ready to happen, and Batman's like, hey, I need to speak to him. And we actually get to see him, say, what have you done, and even lose control over the situation, which is a very early Batman thing. He's very angry. He hasn't gone up against something like this. So he's definitely getting frustrated, stressed out. But in this movie, I think he's definitely going to have to learn that line that he can never cross, whether to kill somebody. At that point, he's no better than the criminals he's putting in Arkham, or at this point, maybe Blackgate Prison. So I think that's definitely going to be a main focal point for this movie, is Batman learning that line that he can never cross. We then get an extended look at Zoe Kravitz's Selena Kyle, which up front I think Zoe is going to knock it out of the park. She definitely has, I think, everything I would want to see in a live action Selena Kyle, and they're definitely going to dive into that relationship she has with Bruce. A lot more, I think, than what we got in The Dark Knight Rises and even what we saw in Batman Returns. No offense to Michelle Pfeiffer. I still think she is the pinnacle Selena Kyle live action, but after this movie, I think Zoe Kravitz is going to take that mantle. But I am glad she is such a big important role in this movie and maybe helping Batman shape who he wants to be going forward as the movies progress and we get more into this universe. We then get a new look at the Penguin and a voiceover from Alfred telling, Bruce, if you keep going down this path, there will be nothing left. And Bruce comes back and says, hey, I don't care, whatever happens to me. Implying that, that he's definitely gone over the edge. And I think at this point, Alfred is kind of the father figure to Bruce after his parents were, of course, murdered. So he definitely has that father-son relationship with Bruce, and he just wants to see him be the best that he can be. And I think at this point, he's finally, saying, hey, let's take a look at this. I think you are definitely going beyond what you're supposed to. I'm afraid that you're going to lose your life over this. You need to dial it back and not be so unhinged and such an aggressive vigilante. You need to dial it back. You need to be smarter. And I think at that point Bruce is just so frustrated and stressed out that he's just lashing out and even more angrier than he was at the beginning of the trailer or even in the movie. I think this is definitely closer to the end after Bruce and the Riddler have clashed a couple times, and Bruce is just getting so stressed out about it that he is just going the extra mile and maybe teetering that line between being himself a bad guy or, choosing to be what he first went out to be as a vigilante, a hero to Gotham City, the hero that Gotham needs. While over that monologue, we do get a scene of a man with no shirt on with a bunch of drawings on the ground. Some people have speculated that this is Bruce. I actually think this is Edward, sort of in the beginning, having written out all of his plans and definitely looking at things. I don't think this is Bruce. Of course, I could be wrong, but if I had to guess, this is just Edward having everything mapped out. We're getting a look into his brain and how everything works before, unraveling into becoming the Riddler we actually know from the comics. We then see Selena Kyle and Bruce talking, and Selena even says it's only going to get worse for you from this point forward. And we then cut again to see Bruce beating on bad guys. He's definitely proving to us that this Batman is going to be different, very angry, very unhinged, something we might not have seen before. I know Ben Affleck's Batman was very brutal as well, but this is definitely an early Batman who quite hasn't figured everything out yet. He was just angry. He wants to get out all this built up aggression he's had since his parents' death. But I think at this point, he is definitely going to have to make the decision, like I said earlier, whether he wants to be just as bad as they are or definitely strive to be something bigger, something that Gotham needs, a hero, the Dark Knight. So I think that is definitely an interesting point for this movie to take, and one that I'm glad to see. This is definitely going to be a different Batman movie than we've seen before, and I'm all about it. So one thing that I actually want to speak on that's not shown in the trailer but has been reported on by multiple people, even Grace Rudolph, who is a very well-respected YouTuber who has kind of some insights into the studios, saying that, hey, Bruce in this movie is going to suffer from mental illness. It's not said what mental illness he suffers from, but it says it's passed down genetically through his mother, and it's something he's definitely going to have to deal with in this movie, which I'm all about. I think that's a very important topic in this world today, and definitely something I can get behind, especially my favorite hero out of every hero that's ever been made by comic books. But I just love that for Batman. I think it's definitely something that Batman would go through with all that he's gone through with his parents' death and just everything that he has been psychologically put through. So I think that is a neat and very well received way to go. I'm just hoping they nail the landing. But as everything I've seen and what I've heard from Matt behind the scenes, he definitely loves the Batman. He knows all about the Batman, and he's definitely going to give us a movie by a fan to the fans, if that makes sense. We then cut to see a new scene of the Batmobile chasing down the Penguin, and I have to say, guys, this is my favorite Batmobile that we've ever seen in live action. It's so unique and definitely a callback to earlier comics where the Batmobile is basically just a modified car. It's not a tank. Now, this car could definitely well be a tank the way it rolls through debris and beats on cars, but I think this is definitely sort of a unfinished, unpolished Batmobile, just like the Batsuit. It's going to evolve as this movie goes, and by the end, who knows, we might even have a more movie or comic accurate Batmobile, but from the beginning, and I guess for most of the movie, we will have this rugged muscle car look, which I can't get enough of. I actually, like I said, think it's my favorite Batmobile, and I will even say that before even seeing the movie. I think this thing is just badass, and I cannot wait to see more of it in the film. We then actually get to see a scene. We saw a bunch of behind the scenes for with Batman on top of the GCPD. It looks like having a wingsuit on and then descending off the building, gliding through Gotham City, which is very cool in my opinion. Very practical too, using the wingsuit. Definitely molding that fantasy and more realistic take on the Batman that Matt Reeves is definitely bringing. Definitely a cool callback to the Dark Knight trilogy, and of course, um, the Batman animated series. So I'm definitely all about that fantasy mixed with realism that they're going for with this movie, because I definitely think that is a nice balance. Because I don't think you should go too much in the fantasy, and I don't think you should go too real with the Batman, because like at the end of the day, he is a superhero, so you definitely have to have those fantastical elements. I definitely want to talk about the scene we do get to see of Bruce taking, or I guess putting a shirt on, showing, I guess after a night out being the Batman, all the scars and all the bullets, knives, cuts he may have taken over being Batman so far. Definitely showing us that he is not immortal, and definitely showing us that he is simply a man trying to go above and beyond. Also proving that he's not immortal. Like, he's definitely taking a beating, and that Batman is scarred, not just on the outside and on the inside. Definitely harkening back to the report that I talked about earlier with Batman having mental illness. I just think it's a very cool touch. Something they didn't have to do, but shows that next level detail that Matt is going for with this movie. Then we actually get to one of the coolest shots in the trailer, in my opinion, which I believe is Batman lighting a flare and leading a bunch of people, I guess maybe underground, maybe the Riddler's prisoners, out of the subway system, I'm guessing, just proving that Batman is this beacon of hope. He is this symbol. He wants to unite Gotham City. He believes that people are still good in a way, and him being this symbol, leading these people out, is definitely, to me, very metaphorical. It's definitely Batman proving that he's not just this angry, brute detective. He's going to have to be the hero that Gotham needs. And to me, that is what Batman's all about. And definitely probably going to be one of my favorite scenes in the movie. We see the end of the trailer with the Penguin being flipped upside down by the Batmobile, and seeing his point of view of the Batman getting out of the Batmobile and walking towards him upside down. Just really a cool shot showing, how menacing he actually is. And I think this is actually a perfect shot to end the trailer on. It's different, it's unique, definitely giving us that visual flair that Matt is going to be known for after this movie. Definitely giving us a more unique looking Batman movie. And like I said, I think this movie is beautifully shot. I think it's going to be one of the best looking Batman movies of all time. But I cannot wait. Then we get a release date of March 4th. I hope they stick to that landing. I know it's been delayed multiple times from June of this year to supposed to come out a couple weeks ago, and then now pushed back to March. Fingers crossed it still lands on that date, because I cannot wait any longer to see this movie. I don't know about you guys. Please leave a like and comment letting me know how ready y'all are for this movie. But that's all I have for you guys today. This has definitely been a long awaited trailer. I cannot wait for this movie. It's probably my most anticipated movie I've had in quite a long time. I can't wait to see it. But with all that out of the way, guys, my name is Noah. If you're new here, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. Let me know your favorite Batman movie. He's definitely my favorite character, so more Batman content on the way. But like I said, with all that out of the way, please be good people. Leave a like, a comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all next time.